What if I told you that even Jesus, the busiest, most important person in history, actually took multiple vacations? Yep, the guy who was healing people, preaching to thousands, and changing the world still knew when to hit pause and recharge. And guess what? That means you need to do it too. Today, we're diving into why Jesus actually showed us the ultimate life hack for avoiding burnout, staying sharp, and living your best life by taking a break. Trust me, this isn't just about chilling. It's about following the greatest example ever. Let's go. So here's the thing. Throughout the Gospels, Jesus didn't just keep grinding nonstop. He actually made it a point to step away from the crowds and the craziness. After his disciples had been working hard, Jesus said something pretty wild for that time. Come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest. Mark 6 verse 31. Imagine that. Jesus telling the people he's leading, hey, we need to take a break. So they got in a boat and headed off to a quiet spot, away from all the noise and demands. And it wasn't a one-time thing. Luke tells us that Jesus often pulled away to lonely places just to pray and be alone. Luke 5 verse 16. Even when things got intense, like when Jesus heard about John the Baptist's death, he didn't just push through. Instead, he withdrew by boat to a solitary place. Matthew 14 verse 13. Believe it or not, that's what is known today as bereavement time off. These moments show us that Jesus wasn't just about constant action. He knew when to pause, recharge, and get back in touch with God and himself. This wasn't just about avoiding burnout. It was about making space for spiritual renewal and emotional healing. Jesus modeled a rhythm of life where work and rest go hand in hand, and that balance kept him strong and focused for the mission ahead. If Jesus, the Son of God, with all his work changing the world, knew how important it was to step back and rest, then it's clear that we need to do the same. In our crazy modern lives, it's easy to feel like we have to be on all the time, constantly hustling, always connected, never slowing down. But that kind of non-stop grind can wear us out physically, mentally, and spiritually. Jesus' example reminds us that rest isn't just a nice idea, it's essential. It's a way to hit pause, breathe, and reconnect with what really matters. Taking time away from work and daily stress gives us space to pray, reflect, and restore our energy so we can come back stronger. It's not about being lazy or wasting time. It's about caring for ourselves the way Jesus cared for himself. So, whether that means going on a real vacation, finding a quiet afternoon to unplug, or simply making space for prayer and reflection each day, following Jesus' rhythm of work and rest can change everything. When we let ourselves rest, we're not just recharging our bodies, we're reconnecting with God and with life itself. Jesus was literally the busiest guy ever, healing people, teaching crowds, dealing with haters, and carrying the weight of the whole world's mission. You'd think he'd be running 24/7, right? But nope. Time and again, Jesus dipped out of the craziness to rest, recharge, and pray. And that's exactly what we need to learn from him. Check this out. Right after Jesus fed over 5,000 people, yeah, that insane miracle, everyone tried to make him king. But Jesus, he didn't stay around for the fame or the hype. Instead, he straight up bounced. John 6 verse 15 says he withdrew to a mountain all by himself. Imagine that. The dude who just fed thousands pieced out to a quiet spot instead of chasing clout. He knew when to step away, and that's some next level wisdom. And it gets better. In Mark 1 verse 35, even when people were hunting him down early in the morning, Jesus got up before sunrise to find a quiet place to pray. He basically blocked out all distractions first thing in the morning to focus on what really mattered. Talk about starting your day right. Honestly, if Jesus needed that, how much more do we? After long, exhausting days of healing and teaching, Jesus wasn't some workaholic grinding nonstop. Nope. Luke 9 verse 10 tells us he and his crew withdrew to a town called Bethsaida just to rest and regroup. That's like hitting the pause button so you don't crash and burn. Smart move. And here's the kicker. Right before the biggest, most intense moment of his life, Jesus didn't face it alone in the middle of the chaos. Nope. He pulled away to pray for hours in the Garden of Gethsemane. Matthew 26 verses 36 to 44. That's some serious deep focus and spiritual recharge. He needed that time alone to get ready for what was coming. So what's the takeaway? Even Jesus, the ultimate multitasker, knew when to take a break. He showed us that rest isn't weakness or laziness. It's essential. It's how you avoid burnout, stay sharp, and keep your mind and spirit fresh. If Jesus made time to rest, then you better believe you need to too. Alright, now that you know Jesus, yes, the Jesus was all about balancing crazy busy days with serious downtime, let's talk about how you can do the same in your life. Because let's be real, life is hectic. Whether you're juggling school, work, family, or a million side hustles, it feels like there's zero time to stop. But guess what? If Jesus could make time to rest, so can you. First things first, plan your rest like it's a boss move. Jesus didn't accidentally find quiet places. He made it happen. When he said, "Let's go somewhere quiet," he meant business. So block off time on your calendar. It could be a weekend getaway, an afternoon off, or even just 30 minutes where you disconnect from your phone and notifications. Treat this rest time like a major appointment because honestly, it is. Your brain, your body, and your soul will thank you. Next, you've got to find your quiet place. Jesus had mountains, boats, and gardens to retreat to. Your spot doesn't have to be that epic. Maybe it's your room, a park, or even just a corner at a coffee shop where no one bugs you. The point is to have a designated space where you can unplug from distractions, tune out the noise, and focus on chilling, praying, or just breathing deeply. Creating this space helps your brain know, okay, this is my rest zone, and that's huge for mental reset. Here's another game changer. Start your day like Jesus did, quiet and intentional. Jesus got up early to pray and reset his mind before jumping into the chaos. You can do this too. Even just 5 to 10 minutes of silence, meditation, or prayer in the morning can set the tone for your whole day. It helps you stay calm, focused, and ready to handle whatever comes your way without getting overwhelmed. Now, this one's super important. Ditch the guilt. So many of us feel like resting is lazy or selfish, but that's straight up wrong. Jesus modeled rest, so it's actually part of living a balanced, healthy life. Taking breaks isn't about quitting or giving up. It's about recharging so you can come back stronger. When you start seeing rest as a power move instead of a weakness, you'll find it way easier to prioritize. And finally, use your rest time to reconnect on a deeper level. Not just with yourself, but with your faith, your family, and your friends. Jesus' times of rest were spiritual and emotional resets. He prayed, reflected, and got closer to God when he stepped away. You can do the same by using your downtime to meditate, journal, or just hang out with people who lift you up. Rest isn't just about shutting down. It's about filling up, filling your heart, your spirit, and your joy. Here's the truth. When you start living like Jesus did, balancing hustle with intentional rest, you'll notice everything changes. Your energy spikes, your stress drops, and your mindset shifts from, "I have to do everything," to, "I'm ready for anything." You'll be sharper, happier, and more connected to the things that really matter. So what's the move? Hit that pause button. Block out your rest time. Find your quiet spot. Start small if you have to. 10 minutes a day can make a huge difference. And remember, even the busiest, most important person ever needed rest, and so do you. Now, here's a challenge for you. This week, commit to taking at least one intentional break. No phones, no work, no distractions, just real rest. Whether it's a walk outside, some quiet prayer time, or chilling with friends, give yourself permission to step back. Then watch how it changes your energy, focus, and mood. Ready to live your best, most balanced life? Because Jesus already showed us how. Time to follow his lead and rest like a legend. All right, buckle up because this is super important. In today's world, rest isn't optional, it's survival. We live in a non-stop hustle culture where being busy is basically a status symbol. Work emails pop up at all hours, social media keeps screaming for your attention, deadlines pile up, and honestly, it can feel like the whole world expects you to be on 24/7. But here's the deal, if you keep pushing without taking a real break, your mind and body are going to hit the absolute wall. And when that happens, it's not just feeling tired, it's full-on mental and physical breakdown. That's exactly why taking a vacation isn't just a nice to have. It's an absolute must. I'm talking about a real vacation. Time away from work, away from screens, away from the noise and stress of everyday life. Vacations are like the ultimate reset button for your brain and body. Even Jesus, the busiest, most important person ever, knew the value of stepping away to a quiet place to rest, reflect, and recharge. If he did it, then seriously, we owe it to ourselves. Science backs this up big time. Research shows that vacations reduce stress hormones, lower blood pressure, and even decrease the risk of heart disease. Taking time off boosts your immune system, improves your sleep quality, and sharpens your mental clarity. You get a chance to recover from all the mental overload and sensory bombardment that comes with daily life. When you're on vacation, your brain switches gears from constant survival mode to rest and recovery mode. That's when creativity spikes, energy returns, and you start feeling like you again. But here's the kicker. Skipping vacations or ignoring rest isn't just making you tired. It's a direct path to burnout, anxiety, depression, and physical illness. Mental exhaustion clouds your thinking, kills your motivation, and makes it harder to handle even simple tasks. Physically, stress wears down your organs, weakens your immune system, messes with your sleep, and can lead to chronic health issues. Trust me, nobody wants to reach that breaking point. This is exactly why Jesus' example is so powerful. He showed us that rest is a vital part of the mission, not a distraction or a sign of weakness. He withdrew from the crowds, from his ministry, and from the chaos to reconnect, recharge, and prepare for what was next. Taking breaks and vacations isn't stepping away from your purpose. It's fueling it. It's how you stay strong enough to keep going without burning out. So if you're out there grinding nonstop, feeling overwhelmed, anxious, or just plain exhausted, take this seriously. Plan a vacation. Even if it's just a long weekend, a staycation, or a few days completely offline, give yourself permission to step away. Turn off your work emails, mute your notifications, and let yourself relax without guilt. Find a place that makes you feel alive. Whether it's a beach, a mountain cabin, a city you love, or even just your backyard. Spend time doing things that fill your soul. Hanging out with friends and family, exploring new places, reading, hiking, or just doing absolutely nothing. Use this time to reconnect with yourself, with the people you love, and with God or whatever brings you peace. When you come back from that vacation, you'll notice something huge. You're sharper, more creative, and way more motivated. Your energy is back, your mind is clearer, and stress doesn't feel like a constant weight. You'll actually enjoy your work and life more because you took the time to rest like Jesus did. And here's a little secret. The earlier you start making vacations and real rest a priority, the better you'll be at avoiding burnout later on. Don't wait until you're already exhausted or sick. Make rest part of your lifestyle, not an afterthought. Okay, now let's take this all the way back, like Genesis level back. Before Jesus was walking around on earth healing the sick and feeding thousands, he was there at the beginning of time, creating the universe. Yep, Jesus wasn't just born in Bethlehem. He's part of the Trinity, which means he was active in creation. John 1 verses 1-3 makes it crystal clear. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. So picture this. The earth, the stars, the oceans, light, animals, humans. Everything was created in 6 wild, world-changing days. Now think about that for a second. If you created an entire universe, would you stop? Would you take a break? Probably not. You'd be hyped. You'd want to keep going, keep building, keep expanding the universe, right? But what does God do? What does Jesus, as part of the Godhead, choose to do? He rests. Genesis 2 verse 2 says, "By the 7th day God had finished the work he had been doing. So on the 7th day he rested from all his work." That's not because he was tired. God doesn't get tired. He rested to set an example, to show us that even in the midst of greatness, even after doing the impossible, it's holy to step back and rest. The 7th day wasn't just a nap. It was a declaration. Rest is part of the design, and it was so important that God blessed the 7th day and made it holy. That means rest isn't just practical. It's spiritual. It's sacred. Rest isn't a side dish to success. It's built into the rhythm of creation itself. So if rest was important enough for God after creating the world, how much more important is it for us after a long week at school, a draining job, non-stop parenting, or constant emotional pressure? Jesus later reminded people of this rhythm when he said in Mark 2 verse 27, "The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath." In other words, rest was a gift made for you. It wasn't a rule to box you in. It was a life-giving pause designed to restore you, a divine tool to keep you from burning out and losing yourself in the grind. Let that sink in. God made the world in 6 days and then rested, not because he needed to, but because we do. And today we're still wired that way. We're still human. We're not machines. You can't just run on caffeine and stress forever. You were created with the same rhythm. Work hard, create boldly, live purposefully, and then stop and rest. On purpose, with purpose. So if God rested on the seventh day, and Jesus carried that same rhythm through his time on earth, stepping away from the crowds, withdrawing to pray, and encouraging his disciples to rest, then you've got every reason to do the same. Not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. Take your Sabbath. Take your vacation. Take your time away. It's not selfish. It's not lazy. It's holy. If Jesus were walking the earth right now, in the middle of our high-speed, always online world, his time of rest wouldn't be flashy. It wouldn't be about expensive vacations or Instagrammable getaways. It would be purposeful, sacred, and deeply intentional. He wouldn't scroll through his phone looking for peace. He'd shut it all down. He'd turn off the noise, the notifications, the headlines, the pressure to be constantly available, and step away from it all. Not to escape life, but to step more fully into it. Because for Jesus, rest was never about running from the mission. It was about reconnecting with the source of it. He'd find stillness in nature. Maybe it's a quiet forest trail, a lake at sunrise, a rooftop in the city before the world wakes up. Somewhere simple, somewhere sacred, a place to breathe deeply, to listen, and to be fully present. He wouldn't need 5-star accommodations. He'd just need space to hear the Father's voice again. In those moments of rest, he wouldn't be rushing or multitasking. He'd be fully present, body, mind, and spirit. Whether he was walking, praying, or sitting quietly, every second would be intentional. There'd be silence, reflection, real conversation with God, the kind that doesn't need to be posted, captioned, or explained. He'd protect that time fiercely. Jesus walked away from crowds to rest, even when people were still reaching for him. Today, he'd say no to meetings, ignore the pressure to always be on, and turn down opportunities if they cost him his peace. His boundaries wouldn't be cold, they'd be holy. And in all that stillness, he wouldn't keep it to himself. Just like he once told his disciples, "Come away with me and rest." He'd invite others in, a small circle, close friends. No performance, no pretense, just real rest together. Conversations around a table, laughter without pressure, silence that didn't feel awkward, only safe. That's what rest would look like for Jesus today. Not luxury, not laziness, but renewal, reconnection, realignment with the Father's heart. And if he needed it, so do we. Listen up. If Jesus, the guy who literally created the universe, took a day off, why are you still grinding nonstop? Let's break it down. God made everything in 6 days. Oceans, stars, animals, humans, and then he rested on the seventh. Not because he was tired, but because he was setting the blueprint. The goat of creation said, even I'm gonna chill for a second. That's not laziness, that's legendary. Fast forward to Jesus on earth. He's healing people, feeding crowds, flipping the world upside down. And what does he do? He disappears into the mountains. He gets quiet. He prays. Why? Because rest is power. So here's your challenge. This week, take a real break. Shut it all down. No work, no stress, no distractions. Just you, breathing deep, resetting your mind, and letting God refuel your soul. This isn't soft. This is strategy. You want to live with purpose? You want to stay strong, focused, and fully alive? Then do what Jesus did. Rest hard. Come back stronger. Father God, You are the creator of all things, the one who shaped the heavens, the earth, and even the rhythm of rest. You worked with purpose, and then you paused with intention. You showed us from the very beginning that rest is not weakness, but wisdom. Not laziness, but sacred rhythm. Jesus, you walked this earth fully human, fully divine. And even in the middle of miracles and ministry, you made time to step away, to breathe, to be alone with the Father. Thank you for showing us that rest is not a retreat from calling, but a part of it. Today, I lay down my constant striving. I surrender the pressure to perform, the addiction to busyness, the fear of falling behind. I confess that I've been running on empty, trying to do it all in my own strength. But you didn't design me to live like that. You made me to live with balance, with peace, and with purpose. Lord, teach me to rest. Teach me to pause. Help me honor the Sabbath not as a rule, but as a gift. Let me find joy in quiet, strength in stillness, and your voice in the silence. Fill my soul in the places where exhaustion has settled in. Restore what the grind has drained. Heal what stress has broken. Give me courage to unplug, wisdom to set boundaries, and boldness to say no when I need to. And when I rest, let it be holy. Let it be healing. Let it be worship. I receive your rest today, not as a reward I must earn, but as a promise already given. In Jesus' powerful name, amen. So here's the bottom line. If Jesus, the Creator, the Savior, the Son of God, made rest a priority, then we have to take it seriously too. This isn't just about avoiding burnout. It's about living the full, strong, focused life you were created for. Rest isn't a break from your purpose. It's how you fuel it. So step back, unplug, breathe deep, take that time, take that vacation. Let God restore what life has drained. Because when you rest like Jesus, you rise like Jesus, strong, ready, and full of life. Now go hit that reset button on purpose with purpose. You were made for more than exhaustion. You were made for impact. Let's go.